Hey guys, it's me again. As I've promised, I'm going to do the review for the trial deck, and we are going to compare the contents obtained in the trial deck and the starter set. So as you can see, this is stuff from my starter set. I'm just going to leave it here. And this is a trial deck. In front, you get a picture of Kazuma, the name of the deck, some statement. I think this is what Kazuma said against Tayo. It's like the final victory with myself. It's a funny, very funny quote. The Grade 4 Carnivore Dragon, the Shadow Paladin clan, and the card list, and of course Bushiroad's website and things like that. So now let's open it. As you can see, I'm actually struggling to cut while looking at the camera. After some struggling, I managed to cut it and open it. Because I don't want to damage the box, so I have to be extra careful while cutting, and that is not possible to be done in front of the camera because I'm currently viewing this in front of the camera. So we'll put the box aside. And like all trial decks, we will open this. So like the starter set, we do get another of the postcards, which is pretty nice. It's better than nothing. It's good for those collectors. And of course, this is the trial deck. We'll talk about that later. Just put it on top of one of the starter set. And yeah, just like the starter set, we are getting the playmat, which one of his sides are the actual playing field of the playmat. And the other side of it is the how to play guide, the techniques on using the deck, and the cards featured, of course, Kazuma here, and of course promoting Bushiroad's new cards, which I've talked about in my previous video, the opening of the starter set. So now they give the same first guide which I've actually featured in my starter set video. So now let's get into the deck itself. Oops, sorry. So obviously we get 2 copies of Dragheart Luard. It's a pretty nice card. It basically gives you free strike if you're on Ritual 3, and when you strike you may retire one of your units, and then if you do, you superior call 2 grade 1 of less units. So it's a very nice skill. It's like a combination between Vortimer and Blastoduck. And then we have 2 copies of Carnivore Dragon. This card is I really like this card because you actually are able to retire 2 of your opponent's unit by only retiring 1 of your own unit. So you get 2 for 1, and that is a very good thing. And if your opponent cannot retire 2, they will have to give your front row units plus 4k. And of course, one like the Luard, one of them is foily, one of them is not. And we get 4 copies of, I think this is the Vicious Crash Dragon. I don't actually remember his name. It's a pretty nice inclusion because if it's on Retro 3, it becomes a 14k attacker, which is nice because you may be able to be on Retro 3 without striding if you guard a lot early. So in the early game, he becomes a very good beater, and it's 11k. I'm not complaining, so it's a good thing. Then we get 2 copies of, I think it's Waldemar. So his first skill is Generation Break 1. He gets plus 4000 when he attacks the Vanguard. Second ability, if you're on Retro Tree, you may sacrifice 1 unit and it gets plus 4k. This card is also quite nice because you can sacrifice as many units as you want to give it a lot of power buff, which is gonna get Perfect Guard most likely anyway. But this is quite a nice inclusion in a trial deck. But the downside is it is a 10k. So you have 2 of this. But if you ask me whether I'll run the other two grade 3s, I don't think so, because I prefer Dermot, because Dermot gives me the retire. I prefer field control over high power columns, but that's just me. And you get 2 of the Demon World Castles 10k, which is really good because a lot of my friends want to build a casual Shadow Paladin that's Demon World Castles, but they couldn't find any good grade 2s or grade 1s to do it, so you're gonna get 2 Demon World Castles 10ks, which I'm going to give it to them so they could build their fun Demon World Castle deck. And of course we get 4 copies of this girl. She's basically when you call her, basically when you call her, and if you have more rear guards than your opponent, you can draw a card. You can discard a card, then draw a card. Not a fan of her. Yes, she allows you to ritual fast, but I don't like to discard 1 first before drawing. So they're giving you 4 copies. And you're getting 2 copies of Liafail, oh my god, I don't know, I'm not good in pronunciation. This guy is an interesting guy. Generation Break 1, once per turn, Soul Blast 1, retire 1 of your units behind him, and you get to draw a card. Retro Tree, when he attacks, is 11k attacker. So the thing is, he's a good card, but I'm not sure I want him in Luart, because so far Luart doesn't have a way to soul charge. So I think maybe I'll try him out, but I won't run him as a 4-off, and one of them is foil and one of them isn't foil. The foiling this time around is really nice compared to Shadow Paladin Legend deck, so I'm not complaining. 2 copies of the 15k Interceptors. 4 copies of Nice. Nice is basically a very good card. When you're on Retro Tree, you superior call him from deck. He's a 9k, and then Generation Break 1. After you attack, retire the guy in front of him, you get to draw a card at the cost of 1 counterblast. So it's pretty good. And 3 copies of this cat, I guess. Basically, Generation Break 1, when he boosts anything, he gets plus 4k, and then at the end of the turn, you have to retire him. So the deal is, I'm not a fan of him. I prefer the Night Sky Eagle, but then since he retires himself, you get to enable ritual faster, which is something you want to do in this kind of deck. And of course, 4 copies of this girl, 6k. When she's called to the rear circle and you're on Retro Tree, you get plus 3k. Then again, I'm not a fan of her because I prefer Night Sky Eagles. I think Night Sky Eagles is better. But then she has a nice art, so I'm not complaining. And this is the thing that surprised me the most when they revealed the cards for the trial deck. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 Perfect Guards. And you know what? They're Demon World Castles. So I'm gonna giving them to my friend, because he's building a Demon World Castle deck, which is pretty nice. They give you 4 Perfect Guards. Then the starter, Drag Prince Ryut. He has 4-runner ability, and on Generation Break 1, when you retire him, you may give 1 units plus 5k, and you counter at a cost of counterblast 1 and moving him to your soul. And of course, for criticals, which is a dragon that I don't like the art. 2 draws. I think she's a drag wizard, and the art's pretty nice, and she's like, I don't give a flying toot. That's the face she's giving me. And 4 stand triggers, which has pretty nice art. 4 heal triggers, which she is like a fallen angel or something. The art is also pretty good. I might run her in my Carnivore Dragon deck since I only have 4 copies of the Witch of Cats, which is another very beautiful Shadow Paladin heal trigger. And of course 2 copies of How Owl, one of them is foil. This card is really good because since Luard has no way to fill up his own soul, this card will fill up the soul for him. And of course the Shadow Paladin clan card. Now the difference between the trial deck and the starter set is, in the starter set you get 1 extra card in the deck. Is actually, it's not actually 1 extra card. It doesn't actually affect gameplay. It's just an extra card that is the fighter's counter, which I'm not gonna get here, but that doesn't actually really matters. What do I think about the Luard starter deck? This one there's a bit of mixed feelings. The grade 3 lineup is pretty solid because you have power columns, you have 6 11Ks, meaning you buy one of the trial decks. If you are planning to play on one trial deck, which is not a very good idea, but you could do it, and chances of you riding on a 10k grade 3 is very low. The grade 2 is pretty nice because the girl that I said discard 1 draw 1, she allows you to get to ritual faster before your first strike. The grade 1 is where my mixed feelings come in. Niece is a pretty solid card because you get free draws. The cat thing, the Killermyu thing, the cat thing is pretty good because it sacrifices itself to enable fast ritual. The girl that gets plus 3k when she's coming and you're on ritual 3, I don't actually like that card because I think, yes, you can get that effect off even you're not striding, but come on man, this is a stride deck unless you're playing a Shadow Paladin aggro deck, which I might be making in the future. She's not really that good. I'll prefer Night Sky Eagle or something like that, or maybe a Luard Searcher. They made the Luard Searcher in the booster set, which is not really nice because I didn't manage to get a share of it, so I have to go out and pick up some singles, but it's an R card, so I'm not complaining. This starter is good because it fills the soul, but other than that, not really, because you need to counter blast 1. The trigger lineup is pretty okay, and I'm very, very glad that they gave us How Owl. So that's about it. I'll see you in my next video. What's my next video, you ask? Well, now I have 2 of the trial decks. Let's combine them and make a deck. A very relatively budget deck that a guy who buys 2 of this trial deck could make. So I'll see you guys in that video. Thanks for watching.